know. I don't know how well. I mean, it has to be executed well, obviously. I mean, much like everything, but it could be okay. I'm willing to give it more than a week, but yeah, this be kind of interesting. And the main thing I want to see out of it, if if Vince really wants to build new stars, then if this builds a star out of it, then in my opinion it's successful. The Brawl for All, if you want to look at it, Bart Gunn could have been built up as a star afterwards. They could have just been like, "Hey, this dude beat up everybody, so you guys need to take him seriously." But they didn't do anything with him. If this somehow builds up, like say Babatunde or something like that, or someone like that, if they build him up as this, dude who can just beat the shit out of everybody, but then they don't execute after it, then what was it worth? Then why would you do it? But
I want to say
we'll see. I have to see how it plays out.
I think the upside for this it would be something that they have done a good job with a few times, or I guess NXT has done a good job with a few times, which is like the Matt Riddle Timothy Thatcher fight was a
Mm-hmm.
very UFC style fight. That's what they could be doing here. The way that they're building people up here looks like they're making a bunch of mini Brock Lesnar's, and by many I just mean not established yet.
Yeah,
Uh, and I don't think it's legit shoot fighting. So they are going to pick who they want to win. Of course, it's not going to be like having two people in there and the person they didn't want to win does.
but it's supposed
Uh,
to resemble a shoot fight. That's what it looks like to me.
it it kind of like it does, and they did a decent job of doing that too. Except for the Viking Raider that they had in there, Ivar, or whoever it was. He didn't do a good job of making it look real. It looked like the regular type of wrestling that he does,
Hmm.
which in some ways is good. I mean, he kept it safe; nobody was getting hurt, whereas a couple other people were getting tossed around like rag dolls.
Yeah,
But that's where I was kind of like, okay, so this to me isn't shoot fighting, even if it's supposed to look like it.
yeah,
But yeah, that we'll we'll see, and that kind of goes with anything really. If you come up with a outlandish, interesting idea, I think that's a good starting point. It's just a matter of how do they run with it.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, exactly.
if you have a lot of the same things over and over and over, it gets a little boring. Even if it worked before, it gets boring. If you're introducing something new, to me that's an excitement point. And again, it just depends on what they do after that.
And then Game here in the chat says it's all about the new faction Retribution, which is going to lead into our next talking point. Don't know very much about this. This was like the image that I took from Monday Night Raw, where apparently they're doing doing stuff on the production. I guess mics were going out, lights were like flickering and stuff like that.
That's
Uh,
a good image to pull, by the way.
and from what it sounds like, I guess these guys or whoever it is behind it. I have no idea. Apparently, the stable name is Retribution. Don't know who's in it, so let the speculation begin.
So here's the thing about Retribution, since we got time to talk about it now, and I've been saving this for a little bit. So the first match of the night was Apollo Crews versus MVP.
Yeah,
They both came out with their titles, which was kind of funny. Uh, and this was part of the confusion of the episode where I named a few of the things that were kind of like, what's going on? But they both came out with their titles. They both held them up. Ref takes the titles away during Apollo Crews coming out. He gets up on the post on the ropes doing his pose, and the lights go out, and then they come back on, and the announcers are like, "Hey, we're told there's a storm in the area. Maybe it blew our power off."
yeah,
And I was like, "That I guess is kayfabe, but that doesn't make any sense. If the power went off, we we wouldn't be seeing this for
no,
many reasons."
no,
So I'm like, okay, so what's going on? So yeah, MVP comes out with a mic and it's not working right. And in the middle of their match, there's technical problems, and MVP's using it to blame his loss.
right,
Apollo Crews retains. MVP, even though he made his own U.S. title, loses his own U.S. title. I didn't see if Apollo Crews took both of them, or only took the new one, or only took the old one, or what the heck was the case there.
Yeah.
But later on, MVP does not have his U.S. title still, so he gave up on it. So after that, they don't do any more technical difficulties or anything. It was just that one match where the faction was a problem with the matches or the show. Later on, is about like halfway through the show, and basically an hour after that they had these problems, they're like, oh, hey, guess what? We have the security footage, and they show this, what you have a picture of right here, where they have this faction, everybody's in hoodies, you can't see any of them, and honestly, they're acting like a bunch of high school seniors that are pulling their senior prank or whatever. They're running out, they're giggling, they go up to what you see here is supposed to be a power tower, or what do they call that?
I have no idea.
It's supposed to be the power for the show, which I can tell you right now, being a technology person, that is not powering the show. It's not a power generator.
Right.
So they run up to where all the wires are going into the ground. They bend down. I'm like, okay, so they're just going to yank all the power out of the ground, which is kind of dumb. Why is there a power generator that just plugs into the ground and it's being unguarded? But they weren't pulling it out. What they were pulling out was a bottle of alcohol that they lit on fire with a rag, making a Molotov cocktail, and they throw it into the power generator, which causes the power generator to explode. And that also is questionable physics there. But as far as wrestling goes, whenever you throw fire on electronics, it explodes. So, okay, I'm okay with that.
It's wrestling. Yeah.
It's happened so many times before that it is part of wrestling. It's acceptable.
Right.
So that causes the power to go out, but then come back up, and that doesn't make sense either. They giggle for a little while, and then one of them's like, "We got to get out of here, run!" And they all run off, but there was no cops or anything chasing them, so they really didn't. And that is all they see about the faction. They're talked about a few times. The Hurt Business blame the faction, the Retribution, the faction, for their loss, because what's his name? Shelton Benjamin loses the 24/7 title. Okay, so this was weird too. Shelton Benjamin literally misplaces and loses the 24/7 title. He doesn't know where it's at. Why it's not around his waist at all times, I don't understand, but it's gone. I forget. I think R-Truth just stole it, but they didn't really show it. They said that he stole it, and they decided to have a three-way match between Akira Tozawa, R-Truth, and Sheldon Benjamin for the title. Which also, why is Akira Tozawa part of it? I don't know. But Akira Tozawa is the one that ends up winning the title. So yeah, the Hurt Business is blaming Retribution for this, and they just made the logical conclusion that Retribution was outside and the Raw Underground started happening. So obviously Retribution has to be connected to Raw Underground, so that's why they go to Raw Underground.
Yeah.
And that's the story of the Retribution. Sorry, that was a little long-winded, but I actually... again, I don't think it's good, but it was interesting.
I'll say this: if it builds intrigue, who knows? It could end up being good. It's, like I said, it's something I should probably watch before I actually judge.
The way they described it ahead of time was that I thought was a cool idea. They made it sound like it was going to be a bunch of low card or mid carders that were upset that they weren't getting better opportunities, and they were going to ruin the show until they did.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a cool idea. So far, I don't know if they're doing that or not. I actually understand if they're supposed to be connected to Raw Underground or not.
We'll just have to see. That's where that's where one of the points of intrigue lies, and I think another point of intrigue is who is in this stable. There's a lot of talk on Monday before the show where there's nobody even really revealed, or no hints revealed or anything like that. Like, who would you put in the stable right now in the WWE, and stuff like that?
I was about to ask you that question.
I have no idea. I think a lot of people are throwing around Mustafa Ali as being a
Yep,
member of this.
for sure.
That's a mainly because I think a lot of people are still wanting the resolution of the hacker storyline. So that, and I think everyone was thinking that it was going to be Ali because of the big circular light and stuff like that. That's part of his gear. And I
I
think a
want
lot.
Mustafa Ali. I want the bunny costume from the Rosebuds.
Hey,
Let's see.
Adam Rose is already part of Social Outcasts.
I want um the gobbledygooker.
The gobbledygooker.
I want
You'll see a gobbledygooker if this ends up winning the award, the gobbledygooker award, as long as the swamp fight doesn't beat it out. But
for real though, I'm trying to think. Akira Tozawa would be a good name, except that he just won the 24/7 championship, and he's already doing his faction of unknown ninjas.
yeah, game says this fits Nikki Cross.
Yes, it does, except that
it kind of does.
it does, except that she's already doing title fights. I mean, she just lost a few, and if she goes into the background, that is a name that came up to me though. Uh, who else? Because the people I'm thinking of mostly are like, oh, what's his name? That they just Black.
Aleister Black.
Yeah, Aleister Black would be a good, especially because they just kind of wrote him off.
Yeah, Ricochet.
Ricochet, yes.
Give him something interesting to do.
Paul Heyman should be the leader of the faction.
In my opinion, Paul Heyman should be writing the damn show, but
yes,
we are where we are. Thanks, Vince. And Vince.
If they brought back Doink for this too, I wouldn't be mad.
Oh,
sorry,
Lord.
I'm being a little too goofy.
but no, I'm curious who's going to be part of this. I'm curious where this kind of plays out. If the idea is to get people kind of wondering about this, then I think maybe WWE succeeded. Whether or not it's actual quality, quality product, I mean, who knows at this point? This is something that we can't really judge on 1 week. But give it some time. We could end up getting something good out of it, but maybe not the greatest start, but you never know. Maybe there's, something gets taken into a different direction next week and it's a positive way of going, positive direction they're going into.
Two suggestions that I have for them with this and Raw Underground. I don't think this faction should be connected to Raw Underground. I know it's happening simultaneously and it's somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But I feel like this faction should not be related to the Raw Underground. I think they should mess with the show until they start getting what they want, and it should be mid-carders, low-carders getting their first big push, or a chance at least to have a big push.
Yeah.
With Raw Underground, the reason why I don't think they should be involved with Raw Underground is because Raw Underground seems to be like it's trying to be more brutal, more realistic. These people don't seem to be like gigantic hulks. What they're doing with Raw Underground, like I said, I think they should use it to build a bunch of Brock Lesnar's, people that are beasts, that are huge, muscular, come out and have that legit I can beat you up look to them and look to their matches.
Right.
And because of that, if you get a bunch of smaller people, cruiser weights that are coming in and winning these Raw Underground matches, then I think you kind of throw away the purpose of the Raw Underground.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Like, it should only be certain kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Guys or gals.
Yeah, and Dolph is a bit smaller, but he's legit in that he is a real wrestler.
That's true. Just a lot of people don't know about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a good stage to push him, and like maybe Chad Gable too. Chad pulls off some really good feats of strength. Same with Cesaro would be really good for there. He could really, like, pound for pound, Cesaro is probably the strongest person on the show. Not that Braun Strowman can't outlift him, but Braun Strowman's twice his size.
Right.
I mean, Cesaro did his neutralizer to not Jinder Mahal, Great Ali.
Great Khali.
Khali, sorry.
Yeah.
I knew that was wrong as soon as I said it. Great Khali. That's like freaking amazing.
No, we'll see how these two pan out. It's kind of interesting, but for week one, we'll have to see. Sheamus wouldn't be bad. Sheamus is
That's very true.
seen as a big fight kind of guy. So,
Except that he just lost a a bar fight to.
well, he lost to Jeff
Uh,
Hardy. Jeff Hardy was in
I know.
he was in his element.
Right. Sorry.
Well, so is
Can't go
Sheamus, I
against
guess.
kayfabe.
She,
I mean, that was my
she,
first thought.
Sheamus is Irish too. So, all right, guys. So we're gonna move on to a story that is not necessarily wrestling related, but it is. But it's also not. Not don't know that many details, but apparently, I've never watched a show that The Rock was on called Ballers, but apparently Ballers is becoming a real thing as Dwayne The Rock Johnson, we all know him as The Rock. I believe his ex-wife Danny have bought the XFL for like what was it, 14 or 15 million dollars. So now The Rock is a part owner of it or what have you. I don't know if he's part owner, half owner, or what have you. But either way, The Rock has is going back to his football roots and is at least going to be a big part of the XFL. So that's kind of interesting. For those who don't know, The Rock was a big time football player at the University of Miami before he became a WWF wrestler in the 1990s. So, the guy might know a little bit about football. I don't know, but
That's I was laughing at the picture you put up. I had seen that before, but it's hilarious.
well, yeah, like I thought it was funny too. I thought it was a perfect picture. And that's also one of the all-time great Vince McMahon facial expressions of all time that nobody uses. But still,
I am a fan of the Battlehawks, and I am
Caca.
hoping that they can revive this. Yeah, caca.
Hashtag caca.
I'm hoping that they can revive this. I think XFL really had something going. Like even the last match that the Battlehawks had there in Washington D.C., I think, and they had invented the beer snake, a gigantic stack of all of everybody's empty beer cups that just snaked from the field all the way up to the top rows of the.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, they had a lot of things going for it. They had a crowd of people that were rowdy and loving the product. They weren't doing their old XFL over the top violence, people getting hurt, strippers and all that stuff.
What's up? What's up, Luis Arias fan club? How you doing tonight?
Yes, welcome to the bear side of the mat. They had a legit football game going, and it was somewhere between collegiate and professional. And I know some people are kind of like, I just want to see the best of the best, and I don't want to see anyone else. But if you have a team to root for, and you're seeing legit competition, not just like one team being so much better than everybody else that they don't have a chance, you have a good product on the field.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me. I was watching not just the Battlehawks, but some of the other teams. I was kind of watching how the whole league was going. I was getting into it. It's honestly a really sad story that it ended the way it did. But with The Rock buying this, you would have to think it's about 100% sure that it's going to be coming back probably next year.
Something like that. At least that'd be the hopes for it. Since we talked about Wrestling with Regret last week, he has got a video. It's a collaboration with another wrestling YouTuber where they talked about the original incarnation of the XFL. And it's actually a really, really good video, even though it's not like, I mean, the two guys are, or at least the main guy, Brian Zane, he's not much of a football guy. But they talked about how in the original XFL, it was too heavily influenced, like wrestling influenced and stuff like that, to where it felt like it was WWE but football style, football version of it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people were kind of turned away by it. You had they tried to have some storylines between like coaches and the broadcasters and stuff like that. Didn't work. The football itself, aside from a couple concepts, were kind of so-so. But from what I understand with the XFL this time around, the advertising was a little bit better for it. Like, hey, this is still going to be legit football. but it's going to be in the off season for the NFL. So if you guys still, you guys are still thirsty for your football, come watch it. But still going to include some new concepts when it comes to rules of football. Um, Saw a lot more interviews on the field. Some of them worked out pretty well. Some of them had some f bombs in them. That's sports. That's competition for you. You're not always going to get, if someone's getting their butt kicked or someone makes a bad play. Sometimes you're gonna get some real comments from people, and it's not going to be sugar coated. So
The the winning team got a chest full of Bud Light seltzers in the locker room too, and those celebrations were probably the best advertisement Bud could ever have.
Well, and that's the thing too. It looked like all these guys were having fun playing the game.
Yep.
I mean, if it ends up leading to an NFL contracts for some of these guys, and they impress some some pro teams, then I think by the end of it, it'll all have worked out. It's essentially like a minor league for the NFL. Um, an American minor league for the NFL. It's just it didn't work out because of this whole damn coronavirus stuff. But with The Rock getting it, I mean, who knows? He could turn it into something, do the same thing. I don't think the investment's going to be too large for The Rock either. And I've heard some people say, like, why would he invest his money in this? Like, because he wants to, because he's The Rock, because he can invest whatever. It's his money. You get people like in talking about MLB The Show, and they're buying stubs to, get good teams and stuff like that. Look, if you got the money, buy the stubs if you want to. I don't even care. Like it's your money. It's your hard-earned money, so do what you want with it. I mean, if you're using it for good, awesome. If you're using it for bad, that's different. But
this is like one paycheck for him, one movie's worth of money. So it's not a bad investment. I mean, maybe he legit saw that it was a growing product and jumping on it for the second or the third, I guess, go around here.
This really does not matter to me. I think The Rock bought it because he loves football and probably felt bad for the players who lost their jobs during the pandemic. And I really like the revamped XFL. Those are good comments.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, the XFL was doing pretty good. I don't know what the ratings were looking like. They didn't have the steep drop off that they had whenever they first had it. But I mean, they're not going to do amazing ratings, but still.
I remember the ratings being talked about as better than they thought, and like you said, not as big a steep drop off as they thought. So, depending on what you're comparing it to, of was it good or not, but it was better than expectations.
Right, exactly. I'm not sure exactly what the expectations were for it, but still, that's a pretty interesting news story throughout the week. That was something I don't know if anybody really expected. I don't know if Dwayne Johnson had been in talks for a while and there have been rumors or anything, but I remember seeing this story on Monday and be like, oh, wow, 2020, The Rock has bought the XFL. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm happy for it.
They need to keep the commissioner they had the second time around. They had great rules, leave the promos in the ring. So was the commissioner Oliver Luck, Andrew Luck's dad? I know he was part of it.
I don't remember, but I do remember the commissioner did a lot of interviews on St. Louis radio, and I know he was very into listening to the fans, into making it an actual football product instead of like a hyped up wrestling product, like you said.
Right.
And into making sure that the communities were a part of the team, not just a city that they happened to film it in, kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's what really attracted St. Louis was they felt like they wanted to stick it to Stan Kroenke, but they also felt like that was their team, and they built that up a lot too. It was St. Louis's first original football team.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of cool, and they weren't that bad of a team either. I think what were they 3-1 or 2-2 or something? I'm not sure.
They were 3-1. They went undefeated until that last game of the season. I think they were going to make one of the 2 playoff spots.
Yeah. What's going on, Kachika? How you doing, man?
Their quarterback, I forget his name, but he got taken by Kansas City as a backup for Mahomes.
Was it Marquette King, or is he the punter?
That was not the quarterback. The quarterback was
Tamu something. Tamu Smith.
he had a
There's a apostrophe in his first name.
yeah, Tiamu was his first name.
Yeah.
His last name was also what would you call it? He had a heritage like The Rock, Samoan heritage. There we go.
Right. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Jordan Tamu. That was his name. I thought Tamu was his first name.
You had it backwards.
But unfortunately, Kachika, we're probably about to wrap up the show here within the next couple minutes. We talked over Marty Jannetty and himself being weird. We talked about WWE or Raw Underground and the new stable. I actually talked a lot about Monday Night Raw and just how kind of it was a bit of a weird episode, to be honest with you. But if you guys are interested in watching this, if you guys are coming in late, we are going to have this available on the VOD on my channel, and we will also put it on the Bear Side of the Mat YouTube channel. So make sure to go subscribe over there if you guys haven't yet.
I will get that up tonight. I kind of forgot last week's episode. I'll get that up there too, but tonight I'm going to have this week's episode in case you missed part of it.
Sweet. And then finally, we get to our AEW versus NXT Wednesday Night Warfare tonight. I don't have the preview in front of me, although I think AEW...
I got both of them, so...
I was going to say, AEW looks like they have a pretty good stack show tonight. I'm not sure what we have for NXT, though.
AEW, top of their preview is the world title match, Jon Moxley versus number 5 Darby Allin.
That's going to be a good match.
It should be a pretty good match. I like both of them. I don't know if Darby's ready to win the title yet, although they could give it to him if they really want to give him a huge boost. I think he just did a... he's going to use his skateboard in weird ways against Jon Moxley.
Oh, man.
They're both kind of extreme people.
Last week with the thumbtacks on it hitting Starks in the back, God, that was the most... as a gruesome sight. I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, so I've seen so many people go through, get slammed on the tacks and stuff, and you see some blood, and really most of the time you just see like little drips of blood, but it usually goes away from what it sounds like. The tacks, they hurt for a little bit, but then after a while it's not really all that painful. But man, it looked like Starks was just like dripping blood from his back whenever that happened. It looks like almost looked like he got like scraped across his back, which is oh my God.
Yeah.
Will I play the show tonight? I am not gonna play tonight, but I do plan on streaming tomorrow, probably in the early afternoon if you guys are interested. So make sure to tune in for that. But let's keep going with our preview. We got the world title match.
We have a 12-man tag match. It's 6 versus 6 with FTR and the Elite teaming up against the Dark Order, which has at least 6 members.
We've gone from an 8-man tag a couple weeks ago to a 10-man tag last week. Now we have a 12-man tag this week.
I say keep building it up. Let's have a 20-man tornado tag match.
20-man tornado tag.
We have... And this might be the best segment of the show, even though I've already announced 2 great matches. The Great Debate, Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. Who has the better mic skills?
And who's going to be the guest moderator? There is a rumor out there of who it will be, but I'm not going to spoil that for you guys.
Yes, don't spoil it for me. I have absolutely no idea.
To some, it'll be to some if it's who I'm thinking of, it could be a disappointment. To some, I think it's going to be kind of fun.
It looks like for the first week since he got the title, the TNT title's not up for what would you call it? It's
not on the line. That's right. We've got
champion Cody versus Matt Cardona, formerly Zack Ryder, versus the Dark Order, who I thought had all their members already fighting, but apparently they have at least 8 members.
they got a lot of members, and they're still growing.
Hey, yes, join the darkarmy.com.
Right,
or
exactly.
the Dark Order, sorry, not the Dark Army. Dark Army would be a hacker group.
Right.
And then we also have a tag team grudge match, Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends.
That should be a good match, too.
Without Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
And then we also have another promo from MJF, which last week's was pretty ballin', so I'm expecting something good there.
Yeah, so we're talking in the chat. I'll have the Nationals on my iPad and AEW on the TV. Very nice. If Moxley loses, it'll probably be to MJF. I think so too. I'm. It's
Yeah,
a,
to be honest, I don't think MJF is cutting promos on John Moxley to have John Moxley lose and then him to be like, oh well,
yeah,
I mean, I should be fighting Darby Allen, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a good fight.
absolutely. And if you guys did not know, apparently for All Out, that has actually been announced. MJF is going to challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So
I'm excited for that.
there's your main event match.
On the NXT side, we have Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes, baby. And I'm starting to get to where I like to see Cameron Grimes get beat up, so not a bad matchup. We have Rhea Ripley, or I guess she's just being called Ripley now, and Kai instead of Dakota Kai. They are battling for an NXT. Yes, everybody's going to be one name now. Nobody gets two names. They are battling for the opportunity to fight Io Shirai. Personally,
Okay.
I like seeing Rhea Ripley back in the, I guess, on the show in general, and to see her take on Io Shirai would be pretty cool.
Right.
Dakota Kai has been building herself up, but I feel like Rhea Ripley needs to assert her dominance again.
As much as I'd love to see Rhea Ripley back in the title picture, I think this is mainly going to be Dakota. I think Dakota is going to be the big heel going up against Io Shirai at NXT Takeover 30.
That definitely does
number
make
30.
sense. Let's see. We also got Undisputed Era versus Walter's two henchmen for the tag team titles.
The tag team titles do exist on this show.
Yes, and we have Pat McAfee coming to NXT to, I guess, cut a promo.
Pat McAfee addressing the Adam Cole stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it'll probably be interesting. I just don't really like Pat McAfee that much.
We're also getting a triple threat for the a ladder match for the North American title at the Takeover. So I'm guessing there's another triple threat match tonight.
There is. They announced who it was. I'm trying to remember who it was. One of them is from NXT UK, and I'm kind of wondering how he made it to the US. But it's him. It was what's his name? The Archer of Infamy. I don't know if I can remember that, but I can't remember his actual name.
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, yes, and one other person. I'm pretty sure it's Priest that's going to be winning just based on him being the biggest name. But then again, the other two triple threat matches have been upsets.
Right.
That I'm interested in that match to see the dude that's coming over from NXT UK. It'll probably be a good match in general. But that is AEW.
Or that's
sorry, that is NXT. And no doubt NXT is going to be a good match. I think AEW is definitely got my vote for tonight.
Yeah, AEW's got a pretty stacked lineup tonight, and a little surprised that NXT didn't kind of counter stack against it. Some news. Some future episodes of AEW is actually going to be preempted by the NBA. Is it the NBA playoffs or is it the regular season continuing? I'm not sure, but those episodes are going to air at later dates. They did announce them. I don't have them offhand, but in the next few weeks, towards the end of the month, we're going to see some AEW is going to be delayed for a couple days, a few times, and actually one of those nights is going up against NXT Takeover, Takeover 30. So kind of an interesting move there.
I like Game saying that they the upsets that are happening during the triple threat matches. NXT is living in the land of opportunity.
That's true.
I appreciate it too.
All right, guys, that is going to do it for us. Hopefully, we've got some pretty good topics for next week. We got some good wrestling to talk about from both AEW, NXT, Raw, SmackDown. Hopefully, some more stuff on Raw Underground and the new faction. So, there's no more speculation. We can see what's actually happening with it. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting night for wrestling. I'm looking forward to it.
I am hyped as always, and as I mentioned towards the beginning of the show, if you're interested in seeing some more specific commentary on what's happening during the episodes of wrestling, check out our YouTube. We're getting people that are watching and commenting on our videos. I'll be wanting to put more and more up.
Absolutely, and I should be doing the same thing too. We're gonna go send it over to. You know what? I just realized something. We've been on the MLB The Show 20 all day, so I apologize for that. If you guys were looking for some MLB The Show content, that's my bad. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go send it over to Kyle23 Gaming. Looks like he is playing in Ty Guy's charity tournament, so go hang out with Kyle for a little while. Go root him on. Let's see if we can get him to a tournament win. He's been itching for it. So we will see you guys later. I will be back on tomorrow. Have a good one.